Today is a chance, a fresh start for you and me, to break the shackles that hold together our community. Living lives, making do, staying at the bottom, because our true power is something we've forgotten. Now we have a chance, as the most advanced, to break free from the area of light. No one can try and command you, so lead by example, because we are more than a stereotype. See, you are creation. I am creation. And we make a seed that will breathe out a nation. And every breath you take is another opportunity to be the best person you were made to be. And as we fill this room, with every breath I take, I can't help but look around and see fathers, doctors, lawyers, creators, mothers, scientists, world innovators, presidents, queens, idols, teachers, idols, kings, spiritual leaders. See, now is the time. Now is the moment. Before we can reach for the sky, now we own it. As much as you know this, and the more you begin to live and breathe and show this, they say you'd be a threat to their nation. So they would take that breath from you, whatever chance they can get, through fear, and violence, and oppression, using everything they can to hold your breath down, convincing you to hold on. Just hold on, and don't dare take that breath. So we hold on. We hold on when baskets break our back, as we make our way up and down fields. Who knew cotton could be this heavy? We hold on to the drums and the stars that guide us through this land, even when some of us might not be ready. We hold on when white hoods and white sheets creep through the night, setting fire to every crop and town that we own. We hold on to the food and the language and the books they give that destroy and degrade our homes. We hold on when little boys and little girls get blown up in the church or beaten, stabbed, and hung or drowned. We hold on when nothing has really changed for 500 years. And all we're trying to do is make a sound. We've been holding on for generations. They've been trying to take that breath for 500 years because they know that once you breathe, it'll take the combined forces of the world to try and stop you, only to fall short of victory, a global suicide mission. And I don't know about you, but I've been nice. I've smiled and sung and danced. I've laughed and hugged and yes sir and yes ma'am, but I am done. I'm done explaining why you better not call me a nigga. I don't care how many black friends you got. I'm done being the token in the room that shows this group has diversity. I'm done being politically correct because politics ain't come correct to me anyway. I'm done using my inside voice because in the pyramids my voice echoes from chamber to chamber. I'm done being a thug or an athlete or a rapper. There isn't a stereo loud enough to tell you what type I am. I'm done living in fear. I'm done living a lie. I stand facing the truth. I won't run. I won't hide. I'm done playing this game and I won't hold on anymore. So if you are done being a slave to your weakness, chained up in greed, locked in a culture that aims to be free, if you were done playing victim and ready to be, if you were done building somebody else's dream, then no more code switching, no more tap dancing, no more passive excuses when you really just want to say step off, no more holding it in because there's greatness inside and the world needs to see it. It needs to breathe. It needs to live. So if you are ready to stand, if you are ready to change, if you were done holding on, then breathe. Wake up. Wake up from the dream called society. Shower your body with love. Brush the negativity from your tongue. Scrub and rinse the oppression like dandruff from your scalp. Dry off all the haters. Moisturize the community. Buckle up your desires so they won't sag or hold you down. Arm your brain with knowledge. Load your mind with positivity. Open up the door to the world and welcome to the war. Washington State is the first and only state with the police accountability law. We built, we gathered, we defeated law enforcement, brought them to the table through our power. We built the largest coalition in the history of the People of Color Coalition in the history of this state. What we intend to do is go around this country to help our brothers and sisters in other cities and states with the blueprint of what we've done here. With just 7 to 8% of black people in Washington State, we were able to do that. Just think about in a city that has 20% or 30%. So we want to be an example that if you come together and you don't react, but you respond and keep the narrative, you can create history of something that has never been done in this country before. Washington, give yourself a hand. I want to first recognize Mom, who's in the house. Mom, could you stand up, please? Mom. That's Mom. Of course, my sister, Davita, right here, who's on the panel. Stand up, Davita. We went through my brother Shay Taylor losing his life in 2016. And when we saw the dash cam video of how they executed him, it was all really a lot to be able to try to hold in. We had no place to go. There were no organizations to turn to. As a matter of fact, we turned to one another because of the trauma. We were so much pain. One of the reasons why we created Not This Time is because I said to myself, if I can help it, not one more family in a reach will ever have to go through what my family went through. We created a space for families to go to that never existed before. When family calls us, you've seen Charlene Allowed, which is probably one of the most high-profile cases in our state. A pregnant mother of 4 called law enforcement for help because of a burglary. They got there and killed her in front of her children, and she was pregnant. Wow. We were able to go instantly to the family, put a legal team around that family, and put other families that have gone through this process around them for support, because it is almost impossible to grieve and fight at the same time. This is a space and a group that no one wants to be a part of. Not only here in our city and state, but around this country. Once you create history and set a precedent, it's easier for other states to follow that precedent. Right now, California has followed what we did, and they have passed some police accountability measures there. So it is spreading, but we still got a lot of work to do. Let me explain this to you also. When you get a law change, that's one part of it. When people call me from around the country and say, Dre, how'd you guys do that? I explain to them, it's very important to get the law changed, but it's equally important to make sure you implement the law. What we did in creating this new law and the implementation of this law is wrote into law that our community had to be at the table.
that immigrants had to be at the table, that previously incarcerated had to be at the table, because those that are closest to the problem are closest to the solution. That's not going anywhere. That's not going on anywhere in this country. So while we're going through this implementation process, it is us at the table, rejecting drafts and accepting drafts. They're not doing this on their own. We're there, and that's important. So a little bit about why I wanted to create Conversations with the Streets. When we had that big victory and created history in this state, that gives us a lot of political and social capital. So I took that to the mayor and told the mayor what I wanted to do for our community. And she said, I'll fund it. So the mayor has funded this for me and us to be in this space and to invite political leaders, business leaders, spiritual leaders from all over the country to come share this space first here in Seattle. This is not about ideology. Everyone that I've spoken to that has come and been a part of what we're doing, I told them this has to be about Black love, Black unity, and the reclaiming of our youth. And not one of them disagreed with that. I'm going to say a few things in a minute, but I first have to introduce these wonderful men that have come from all over, across the country to be a part of this conversation with the streets. Men that are doing the work that I ultimately admire. Student minister Nuri Muhammad is a very, very known, powerful speaker, orator, and let me just say this. You can be good at being a preacher and bad at being a man. Do you hear what I'm saying? There's two different things. I am honored to say not only that we have great speakers here, and Nuri and Jay Morrison, but we have great men here as well.
Yes.
So, Mr. Jay Morrison is a phenomenon within itself. He'll talk more about his story, but he created the Tulsa Fund, the first Black fund like that ever. He is a phenomenon, and I don't want to diminish, because he can talk about the things specifically greater than I can. But I am so honored to have Mr. Jay Morrison and his wife here to share in this space with us, to teach us about real estate and to tell us a little bit about his story. Mr. Jay Morrison. What we do is whenever we have these meetings, and as we continue to go around the country, it is important that we recognize local groups that are doing the work that might not have as much exposure. So my sister will be sharing what she has been doing in her journey before and after our brother was killed. And my sister, Davita Briscoe. My little brother, Willard Jimerson, where's Willard? Right here. There he is. Willard said, man, I got an idea. This is called Conversation with the Streets, right? I said, yes. He said, well, we need people from the streets then. To come up in here. I said, bruh, hook that up and bring a brother up here, his brother, to share with us some of his thoughts, some of the things from a perspective that he would know that can empower us to empower our own community. This is Brother Draco that is here. Is Dominique Davis in the house? So Dominique Davis, I just want to mention him as well. All of us has partnered together, me, Don, Will. He does a great diversion program. Brothers that have felonies, young adults, teenagers. He gets them expunged, he's worked with them, get them jobs. get them placement. We have some great people doing a lot of great work here in Seattle, Washington. I just need to acknowledge my man. Let me tell you a story. This had to be last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, when me, Dom, and Willard heard that there was going to be some activities in our community, because when the summertime comes, you know, a lot of activities happen that are violent. So we wanted to try to get on top of that, and we invited some of these people that are involved in some gang activity. We met with them down in the Rainier Beach area, and just one group came, and they had their guns and everything, but them was our people. We're not scared of our own people. And we was talking to them, and I was talking to them and saying, you know, let me try to talk to some people in government that we could talk about some funding for this particular demographic if you just give me a little bit of time to talk to the mayor and chief of police and all these people that say they want to do something, but we're gonna see if they want to do something. So there was an agreement, okay. I called the mayor at that time, I called the police chief at that time, Kathleen O'Toole, and told her we had a great opportunity to intervene in a situation that they haven't had too much success in. And she told me how she wanted to partner with us and all this. No call in 2 weeks. One of the brothers, as a matter of fact, one of Willard Jimison's relatives was killed within that time. So months later, when that sheriff, the chief of police is no longer here, we're having a community meeting. I'm telling the mayor, I said, I can't really trust your system because I don't know if your desire is like my desire for my people. I know the value of black bodies and black lives in the system. You know what I'm saying? And I told her about that story, and she was troubled by it. So that was a way of me being able to tell her, well, the way I can see that you guys are really concerned about my people in the way that I'm concerned about it is you fund these conversations with the streets. So that's part of how we got that done, right? Based upon those situations. So my name is Andre Taylor, but let me just say, and they used to call me Gorgeous Dre. I was in a film by the Hughes brothers. The Hughes brothers did The Book of Eli and Dead Presidents and Minister Society. So they came to me and wanted to do this documentary film called American Pimp. I did the film with them. During the making of that film, I caught a federal case. I did federal time. I got out after 3 years. And before I got out, I told who was my girlfriend at the time, you know, I met my wife. Dove, stand up, please. I met Dove in San Diego, and she was a square. So what that means is I really didn't mess with square girls, right? But it seemed like God had put me in a situation that I had to consider, because when I met her, I was on the run from the police. So I knew that eventually that the police was going to catch up to me and I was going to jail, right? So I'm rehearsing to her what's about to happen, right? And she said, well, when that happens, I'm going to be with you. I said, but you know, people say all kind of stuff. But when they did catch me 2 months later, my wife did stay with me. So they transferred me from San Diego to Las Vegas. Dove moved from San Diego to Las Vegas to be with me. They transferred me from Las Vegas to Tucson, Arizona. Dove moved from Las Vegas to Phoenix to be with me. They transferred me because they transfer you in the feds, wherever they want to take you. They transferred me from Tucson to Victorville, which was a new prison that was open that's all cement. I'm trying to tell you. So they call it, I opened up Victorville. They transferred me from Tucson to Victorville, and Dove followed me from Phoenix to Victorville. And when people ask me, Dre, we knew you were in the game, how is it that you weren't tested or anything to go back? I said, because in all my life, I have found something in somebody that is more valuable than everything I did before I found her. We've been married 21 years and never looked back. Listen, I'm only saying that because people know me as Gorgeous Dre, and they know I had a harem of women back then. And I just want to let them know that there is life after the streets. I have a son, Anthony, that graduated from Yale. My daughter, Shayla, graduated from UCLA. You do not have to be defined by the streets. You do not have to be defined by the streets. Right? But what I learned, and listen very carefully, there are some fundamental things that I learned from the streets that benefited me when I crossed over. One of them was this. I had been in high, intense situations that could have cost me my life if I didn't have a certain amount of poise going through them. They could have cost me my life. So when I came over here dealing with police, and they were saying all this stuff about me, and this guy used to be this, that, and the other, I used to always tell people that asked me how you dealt with that. I said, because you tell your story before your enemy does. That's right. I had been telling my story for 20 years. And because I had already been in those high pressure situations when I was on the street maneuvering and having to think fast and make sure I don't make a wrong move that'll cost me my life, it was like candy dealing with whatever they call high pressure. It was transferable. There are a whole bunch of things that are transferable that we have coming from the streets that you could use over here and dominate. They are still trying to recalibrate and figure out, how did this ex-con do that? How did this, we never seen him coming. You feel me? Because I don't never telegraph what I'm thinking to you. I don't give you an opportunity to prepare for my strengths. I'm telling brothers out here that have experienced the life that I've experienced, and I wasn't I wasn't just no little player on the streets. I was a master on the streets. So I was doing it from the top. So when I was maneuvering from that space, I took that same mindset and found ways to utilize this over here in this system that they didn't have a plan for. Because my father would say, before you judge me, walk 1,000 miles in my moccasins, and then turn around and look at yourself. See, the advantage that I knew I had is that I know the system and folks in the system have some cushion, but couldn't live a week in my shoes on the streets. You couldn't do it. So when you're talking to me, you're talking from a cushion, but you couldn't live a week in my shoes in them trenches on the streets. So I already know I have an advantage already by that. So my father used to tell me, okay, there's certain things I need for you to read, because I want you to learn how they think and then learn how they move. So I spent a lot of my time while I was in the streets, and even before I got into them, is mastering who I felt was my opposition. Their mannerisms, their movements. So even though over 21 years ago I was a pimp, I learned their mannerisms to a point that they never seen me coming. I didn't look like what they thought a pimp looked like. I didn't move like they thought a pimp would move. And to this day, they're still bewildered because I'm still not moving like they think an ex-con would move. When we came here, my brother was killed, I was thinking, how am I going to deal with this? Because I already spoke on TBN, largest Christian station in the world. I already had spoken on Montel. I was already speaking at prison and lecturing at universities. But I hadn't faced something like this with my own brother being killed. Even though I know and I spoke things about it with my other brothers around the country being killed. How am I going to deal with this? And I thought about all the things that are going on in the country when an incident of violence happens. And one of the first things that happens is there is a reaction from our community. And sometimes those reactions are not positive. We can burn some things down because of our historic trauma. But I learned that they were defeating us because when we did that, the narrative was being taken away from the incidents of violence to what the community was doing. So I said, I'm not going to be reactive. I'm going to be responsive. So when my brother was killed, the first week up here, my family sat down with the chief of police. And you know, they think they got us down pat because they said, okay, they're going to get mad, they might march for a week or two, and it'll go back to normal, right? I sat down with that chief of police, and guess what I told him? I said, I know I can't bring my little brother back, but I'm still willing to work with you so that we can reduce the incidence of violence in our communities. This excuse me shocked the heck out of her because she was looking for that reaction, something that they were normally used to, something that they were prepared for. But I elevated the conversation to a level that I had to make them show up in a different space that they don't show up in like that. Right? And people say, how could you go talk to the people when they just killed your brother? I said, because I'm here to lead. Because I'm here to lead. What does that mean? That means showing up in spaces, being able to do what they just can't do. And when you show up in them spaces and then create a space, we created Not This Time, and every single Wednesday to this day for over 3 years, we have community meetings where we bring law enforcement, politicians, and community together to build. I want the community to understand how the system works, and I want the politicians and law enforcement to come before the community and tell them their responsibility to the community. And we opened up for everybody. So we had chief of police come in and senators all come in, and everybody came to that little space in the city to be a part of this narrative that we controlled. It's a narrative fight. They want us to forget about the power and black genius that we possess as a people. They want to operate with us in our reactions because they can defeat us operating with us in our reactions. Understand that? So, and I'm about to close, but I want to tell you some of the things in building a movement. When I first came back here to build a movement, our people, they was like, I don't want to do what he's doing. Because I understand one essential thing for me, to get done what we got done here, we needed to have a big tent. I didn't want them to marginalize our voice. So we had a big tent. I don't care who you love. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. If you are concerned about racial equality and racial justice, you can be a part of this big tent. And that was attractive. We went to unions, got them on board. We went to billionaires and got them on board. We went to organizations all over this state. We went to Native tribes. Do you know there's more Native tribes in Washington than there is all in America put together? Because we know that they experience some of the same things we experience. And we brought that power together until it was so unstoppable that even the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, which is one of the most right-wing leaning police organizations in this country, came to the table. That's power. In our communities, yeah, you guys can give it up. There's a word that we don't practice in our communities that I want you to remember. It's called building power. It's a real big political word. Building power. We need to learn how to do that. And one more thing, and my brother always likes when I say it. Black people, let me tell you this. We could be following somebody for 5 years and they say one thing wrong and we don't mess with them anymore. One of the most successful things that I strategize is this. I do not have to agree with you 100% of the time in order for us to do it. And based upon that philosophy, we have Muslims, Pan-Africans, Christians, or whatever. That's a part of what we're doing. Because I need their genius. They need mine. We need to be together, united, together. Because, oh boy, will we get united. When the value of black love is bigger than anything. When it's damn near impossible for you to look at your brother and sister in light of wanting to kill them. we are the promised land. Amen. I have a rep here, Rep Hanson, that wants to deal with what I said we're working on is bail reform. Not this time, it's working on bail reform. Why is that significant to us as a community? Because they use $1,000 ticket. They use a ticket and put our bail at $1,000 or $2,000. Sandra Grant was in jail for $3,000 because they're penalizing poor people. So we want to work on eliminating cash bail, because 71% of the people in jail now are under there and haven't even committed a crime. Pre-release. 71% of the people in jail is because they can't pay a cash bond to get out. So they're punishing poor people. In New Jersey, they've already done it and it's being successful. That's our next thing we want to do, Seattle, for our people. You walk across the street, get a jaywalking ticket, you go to court, they end up giving you $1,000. Or they take you to jail, now your bill is $2,000. Your mama don't got it, don't nobody got it because everybody's struggling. Now the only reason you in there is because you ain't rich. We're not about to have that. We're not asking no more, Seattle. We're taking everything back that belongs to us. Everything! If we can do police accountability in a state with only 8% of us exist, there's nothing that we can't do. Bail reform's on the table. So Rep Hanson, come up here, brother, and let you ask a couple of questions.
Thank you all for having me. I'm Drew Hanson, represent Kitsap County, the first boat you leave when you head to the west, my district. I worked on a big criminal justice reform bill called the New Hope Act. Andre and Davida and All Not This Time helped do that. We made it a lot easier for people to clear their criminal records when they turn their lives around. There was some real wickedness in the law where you could only clear one misdemeanor ever off your record before our bill. People have been trying to fix that for 18 years. 8 different bills filed, none of them got it to the floor. But thanks to a lot of the people in this room, we brought that home. We fixed that this year. We made it a lot easier for people to clear those convictions off their records when they turn their lives around, have some new hope. So listen, we're gonna bite off bail. We're gonna bite off bail this year and next year.
Yes, indeed.
And I think what we wanted to just hear from people about is the lawyers tell me that judges are supposed to release someone without cash bail, okay? That's the criminal rule. I forget the number, it's like 3.2 or something. It's probably someone in here probably knows. But what I am told is that is not actually happening, okay? What I'm told is no matter how good the criminal rule is, people are still being locked up on misdemeanor charges just because they don't have the money to pay. Is that right? Okay, and we'll get some nodding of heads. So then the question is, all right, there's kind of 2 big directions we can go here, right? One is we can try to get the judges to enforce the rule as it's written. Some people who are sophisticated in this area, Lisa Dugard, who just won a big award today. Remember yesterday, the MacArthur. I love Lisa. She won the MacArthur Genius Award. Now we all know she's a genius. Now she got a Genius Award for being a genius. So Lisa says, okay, think through. Do you really want to go down the road of changing the criminal rule? Is there a way we can get judges to just enforce that rule, enforce that law as written? Or do we go down kind of another road and we try to change the law entirely? And that's kind of where we're at, and the questions we're sort of running around. I don't know if anyone has strong feelings on that one way or the other. We can open it up for feedback, or you can just email me or talk to someone from Not This Time. But that's kind of the big turning point that it's sort of the first decision to make. We think it's a big problem. Do we try to go with the rule as written? Do we try to do something to change the law entirely? So happy to take input on that right now. Also happy if people just, people want to talk to Andre or DeVita or me separately offline. I'm real easy to find by email. I'm Drew.Hansen, Hansen, at leg.wa.gov. I know it's a mouthful, but just Google me, Drew Hansen. I'm not the baseball star, but the other Drew Hansen. You might not know that. But yeah, no, would love any feedback on this, because this is going to be something that we all, when we did the New Hope Act, this is something we did together. I mean, this wasn't just driven by people in politics. This was driven by people who had spent time in prison. That's how the bill came to me in the first place. A constituent of mine who'd spent some time in prison turned her life around, and it's making her crazy. Tara Sims, my constituent, my sister in the Lord. Sorry, I'm going to talk all churchy for a moment. Hope that's all right. So, and we're going to do this the same way. We're going to do this as a community, figure out what the right approach is, and God willing, for New Hope, it took us 2 years to bring that home, but we did bring it home together, because we all pulled together and none of us gave up until it's done, including some of our Republican brothers and sisters who stood with us in this. So that's what we're going to try to do this time. And yeah, happy to, if people want to speak, by all means. Yes, sir.
So the question is, there's a law in place now that is not being enforced. Do we do something about that as far as bail reform is concerned, or do we overhaul the same thing? Or we overhaul the whole thing, or do we do something about the law that is not being enforced? Amend it?
I think you should enforce it, but you need data.
Yeah, we do need data. You're right.
Anybody else?
That's a good point.
Change it?
I believe we should enforce
Okay.
Enforce it?
because if they're not gonna follow the laws that are in place, what's the new law?
Right.
Follow that.
So make sure if you guys have any questions, you could talk to Drew after or email him. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My name is DeVita Briscoe. Gosh, I came here in Washington in 1987. So I've been here for quite some time. I just want to talk a little bit about my journey to the work that I'm doing right now, and then also just some of my passion in the work that I'm doing in the community. My vision really is just a world without violence and a world without incarceration. Both of those have impacted my life tremendously. If anybody knows me, y'all know I'm just regular old punkin from the hood, from way back in the day. I know it looks like it now, but that's where I was. I'm a mother, have 5 children. I'm a grandmother, some people don't know that. Right now I work for the Public Defenders Association. I work for a restorative justice agency. I'll talk a little bit more about restorative justice in a minute. But we started a program up in Monroe where we work with men who have committed serious harm to the community. We're doing like restorative justice and accountability and healing circles in there. And then I was hired as whatever they call me, a survivor network coordinator. I don't know what that means. But I really don't like titles, so I don't have business cards. I don't have a website. I don't have any of that, because the work that I do is so sacred to me. And so I don't want to professionalize what I do, and I don't want to call myself a practitioner. I don't call myself a mental health specialist or none of that, because I'm really down for like the liberation of my people and all the things that are enslaving us and just fighting against all of that oppression. And so that's sacred work to me. And so I don't, so I have degrees, but you won't see my titles on the wall or anything like that. I'll start off by saying that I grew up with, both of my parents were incarcerated. My mother was incarcerated. My father went to prison when I was 12. And him going to prison like really devastated me and shattered me, because that was the only sense of like stability that I had and structure. So when he walked out, it was hard. And I was a straight A student, so I was the good one. And I really became rebellious. Me and my brothers, we were pretty much on the streets of Seattle, and we was hustling and gang banging. And at that time, that's when the crack epidemic hit the black community, and gangs really flourished. And so the gangs and they all just became like a family to me, and that's what I gravitated to. So the community that I most identify with is the hustlers, the players, the pimps, the shot callers, that whole generation is, you know, the ride or die chicks. Them was all the people that I really, I identify with. Not too long, I got my first case when I was 14. I was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm. Went to the criminal justice system as a juvenile, and then 5-6 years later, I was involved in a drug deal that went bad. And me and the victim, we struggled over the gun. We both got shot, and the police realized that I was the one who shot her. I tried to say that, you know, I just tried to say I didn't know who shot her. And they tell on me when I get there. So the police just took me straight to King County. And, you know, I'm sitting here in jail, and they took the bullet out my leg or nothing. They just took me straight to jail. And I was like, wow, like, I almost took somebody's life for a $10 piece of crack. And I think that was the moment for me that I was like, if I don't change, I'm gonna die, or I'm gonna go to prison for the rest of my life. And I think about maybe a year later, I found out I was pregnant with my son. And I believe in my son was a gift, because I gave up the streets and I gave up the game for him. And I didn't want him to live the same type of life that I was living. And so I ended up going through the criminal justice system as I was convicted of assault with second degree with a deadly weapon. And about, you know, after I had my son, I was trying to really like get on this right path and doing the right thing. Went back to school, got a couple degrees, and around that same time, my brother Shay was sentenced to 25 years in prison. I visited him the whole time he was in prison. And eventually, you know, I ended up, my brother Devon, I was in a courtroom with him while he was sentenced to 48 years in prison. Wow. And in that same week that my brother was sentenced to 48 years, my son was shot in the head. And it was like I had two losses of the womb. I had lost my twin brother that I shared the womb with, and I lost my firstborn son that I birthed out of my womb. And, you know, I didn't really feel like the black community, the church, or nobody was there for me. They came to the funeral, but after it was black on black violence, or he was shot by a gang member. So I didn't really have no community support. I was left to like grieve in silence. Or really what people was like, the criminal justice system will give you justice. But I'm supposed to depend on the criminal justice system who has committed historical harms to my community to bring me justice. And that just didn't seem right to me. So I went through the criminal justice system again, but this time I'm the victim. And the prosecutors leave me out of the whole court proceeding. They didn't notify me or nothing. They knew that this boy who shot my son was trying to actually shoot someone else, and he accidentally shot my son. And so I wanted to go petition for him. Number one, I wanted him to know the impact of what happened to me and my family. But I was robbed of that. And I wanted him also to let him know, and to me, justice wasn't his punishment, his suffering, because I didn't live my life by that time by retribution. But what I wanted him to know was that now you don't have to live for you, now you have to live for Donald too. And they took that whole process from me. They knew I was going to come to that court, and they knew I was going to ask for the judge to give him the lower end of the sentence range. And they sentenced him anyway, without me even being there. And you know, they wanted a conviction. All their gun enhancements and all they threw the book at this boy. And it was like, I just felt robbed. And so it was like the first time I saw how the criminal justice system, how it fails both the people who commit the harm, but also the victims. But this is what we're relying on to bring justice into our communities. And so I didn't have the language and the words at that time, but I knew something was wrong. I knew something wasn't right. And so I had to come to grips with what is the language, how else can we bring justice into our communities besides relying on police, prosecutors, and prisoners? How else are we going to bring accountability when people in our community is harming each other, because really, sometimes it's families that know each other. Or friends, or people that is committing harm, but nobody's holding the people accountable that's causing the harm. And then the victims, the criminal justice system is adversarial, so it pits us against each other. Right? And it's not hard, it's not unlikely for a family to bury somebody to murder, but then also to lose somebody to prison. So the same communities that are coming and locking us up, we're the same people that's being victimized. But we have no access to any services. You see them domestic violence people, they got shelters, they got victims advocates, but a black man on the streets is 10 times more likely to get robbed or shot than a white woman. But all of our criminal justice policies are to protect wealthy white people. Right?
Correct.
Those policies are not to protect you. Right? So they didn't care nothing about what I had to say. They just locked this boy up and sent him to prison for 27 years for shooting his own homeboy. And whatever I wanted wasn't even considered. They didn't even care. And so again, I felt like I got robbed twice, right? So I don't know if this is working. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm sorry about the noise. So I pretty much became like very, very passionate about black male genocide and how I was seeing so many youth of color that either if they weren't being shuffled into the prison system through the school to prison pipeline, if they wasn't being shot by the police, if they wasn't being arrested or whatever, it was just seemed like this was something I was pretty passionate about. Was about how many of our young people are we losing. And it's almost like, I don't know if anybody's seen Hotel Rwanda. Yes. Have y'all seen how it was just, the Tutsis, it was just two tribes and it was just wiping each other out? Yeah. It was genocide. Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening in our communities right now. Our youth of color are dying daily. They're being snuffed out in record numbers that no sane, civilized community should even tolerate. But what's even sadder is our collective silence. We'll respond when it's police brutality. Come on. But when it's black on black violence, we say nothing. Our churches don't say nothing, they don't do nothing. And to me, I'm just like, I felt like, again, like I'm a part of a club that I didn't ask to be a part of, and I don't got nobody that's coming and saying anything to me. So I testified for that bill. I also testified to remove robbery as a strikeable offense. With robbery, you don't got to hurt nobody. You can just be running out the store. And that's a strike. So I asked him, I went and testified for that to remove robbery as a strikeable offense. How's that a strike if it's not a violent crime? If you're just running out the store. So mass incarceration is something that our young people are under attack. If it's not police brutality, we killing each other. I'm sorry. So I started the McCaney Project, and that's my son Donald. That's down in the right. His name was Donald McCaney. I started the McCaney Project because, again, I felt like if you were a young person of color and you died on the street, nobody knew. You were just nameless and faceless. And I was sitting in the living room one day and somebody said, "Did you hear about that boy that got killed and he was shot in the head and he was in a dumpster?" And I'm like, "You're right, that didn't really happen." And they said, "Yeah, it really happened." And I said, "So you mean to tell me that a kid was shot in the head and put in the dumpster that didn't make like national news, it hasn't been on the news?" And they said, "Nah." And so that's when I really said, you know what, how come we don't have a public memorial to honor the lives of our young people? Because we're talking about children that's dying from guns. We're talking about children that's dying on the street. And nobody knows their stories, nobody knows that they were good kids, nobody knows that they went to school, nobody knows nothing about them. We don't know their names. We know who Trayvon Martin is and we know who everybody else is, but I bet you don't know who Devondre Davis is. I bet you don't know who none of these kids on here are. We don't, because black death is just we're just numb to it. And I'm hoping I can make it old news. Right? If we continue to, so I think just like we have monuments and memorials for police that died, just like we got memorials for veterans, I'm trying to figure out why we don't have no memorial for our young people that's dying daily. And so it's not enough for us just to honor the people that we've lost, but moving forward, how do we prevent these deaths from happening? Because what I figured out is that my son's death was preventable. There was so many people coming to me trying to spiritualize it, trying to make it okay, and heaven needed another angel, and you know, God planned the day that he was gonna be born and the day he was gonna die. That was gonna make me feel no better. I want my son here. And matter of fact, not only is it me and my girlfriends, we was bearing our baby's daddies, now we're bearing our kids.
Wow.
And that's real. I got about 3 homegirls. We know all our baby's daddies is gone and our sons are gone. That don't make no sense to me. And so we have just become numb to it. Says urban violence, blacks are just 13% of the population, but we account of half of this country's homicides. And more than half of the black murder victims are in their late teens and 20s. It's not these statistics that bother me. What bothers me is our collective silence. That's what bothers me. This should be in every black church across this country every day. Every day. But we got the church of the Jesus that's going to. Okay, so I met this guy named Dr. Marshall in San Francisco, and he just blew my mind with this. He said he identified violence as a disease, not as a physical disease, but as a social disease, right? In the sense that we pass on harmful attitudes and mindsets and behaviors onto one another, right? We just pass it on from one generation to the next. And a lot of times, you be like, well, I say it's a disease because it kills and incarcerates young people, right? And then, you got people say, I don't want to drive, I'll go do a walkabout, or I don't care, I'll do the time. That ain't you talking, that's a disease. Because once you sit in that jail, you're going to be like, I don't want to be here. I don't know what I said, but I don't want to be here. I had a couple things. But anyway, so what he said was that, not just that it's a disease, but it's an insidious disease. Who knows what insidious means? Sneak.
Slide? Yeah.
Sneak.
Yeah, slide.
Right? So what it does is it masks itself as a way to survive. And what we say is, we surviving, right? But you ain't surviving because you dying and going to prison. So how are we surviving? Right? It's masking itself as a way to survive, and these are harmful and lethal behaviors that we're passing on to one another. Right? We say that we surviving, but you ain't surviving. And then it's masked also as wisdom. Or we'll say the game is wisdom, or the streets is wisdom. Am I? So never bring a knife to a gunfight. Is that game or is that wisdom?
Both.
Is it game or is it wisdom?
Both.
Interchangeable.
You say it's wisdom? How many people say it's wisdom?
Wisdom. Now it's with a prayer.
Oh Lord. How many people say it's game?
It's a setup.
No, that's right. Because that's
Supposed to be wisdom.
huh? No. Listen. Knife, gun, and fight. That's game. See, but game looks like wisdom, right? You see, at least a disease will tell you like cancer. Cancer will tell you I'll kill you. But see, y'all don't think the streets is a disease or it'll be something that'll kill you. Because if I say, let's go hit this lick, y'all say, let's go. That's a come up. The streets don't look like it's gonna kill you or send you to prison. It just looks like it's street wisdom. I'm teaching you, and thank God that you got the streets to help you to survive. But in the long run, it's gonna either send you to prison. It's a way to die and to go to prison. And we don't have enough people in our community communicating that, these harmful behaviors, and unlearning some of the harmful behaviors that we passed on to one another. I got my first circle dope from somebody I knew. Then no stranger give me my first sack of dope, and they told me this is the way I'm gonna show you how to survive. And thank God I had those skills and to help me stay alive at that time, but I needed skills that's beyond the streets, right? So I had to get out the game at some point. I wasn't gonna stay in the streets forever. So anyway, he's telling me I gotta go. Keep going or what?
No, wrap it up.
Okay.
You always like that, sis. I don't want to go on, then when you on, you want to stay.
You done got your groove.
Okay, I'm gonna do this last one. Can somebody hold this or hold it? I think I have to take. Okay. So most of the time, people think that all kids, they all come from the projects, they was all poor, that somehow they got caught up in the streets. Okay, but how do good kids change? So, you got your, what you call the boy, when he, now he's good. He don't want no smoke, he ain't with the life, right? This Tyrone. Tyrone cool, right? He's good.
I know a lot of Tyrone.
This Tyrone. Y'all say hi to Tyrone. Okay, now, Tyrone, what you call the boy that's always at home with their mama, that?
Mama's boy.
He's a mama's boy. Okay, all right. Who's the boy that he want to stay around the teacher? He don't come outside. He's a teacher's pet. He's a teacher's pet. And who's the boy that's carrying his Bible all the time?
Church boy.
He's a church boy. And who's the boy that's always reading books and he real smart? He's a nerd. And who's the boy that don't know nothing about the street?
Square.
And who's the boy that don't want to fight? So the last thing you do, this is how you change it. Now look, right here, he was cool. So we swiped out the G. He was cool. He's still good. When you get down here, he starts to change, right? He ain't changed yet, but he's just wondering something wrong. So then we get here, scratch out another G. Oh. But now the last thing, how you really change him, is when you say, he's acting white. That's when he changed. Right? So he ain't Tyrone no more, he T-Bone now. See, because what we did was we undermined his goodness. Right? And we told him there's something wrong with being good. There's something wrong with being smart. There's something wrong with going to work every day. There's something wrong with reading. There's something wrong with all that. So I got to switch up. I got to change my identity. So now I can be a thug or a gangster or a hustler or whatever. Right? So we switch up and we go from Tyrone to T-Bone. Okay, that's all I got. Y'all got to go.
How you guys doing? My name is Jerko. I guess it's conversation with the streets.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna show you how I'm qualified. I'm from the Central District, historical black community, about 5 minutes up the block. I was born and raised here. And I think the solution that we need is, alternatives, right? Different things that we can do. If you take them, you say you don't want them to sell crack. I think you should provide job opportunities. I think if you say I think if you say you don't want them out in the streets, I think you should, in shooting each other and being active in the street, I think we should find some positive activities that we can show them so they can do it, you know what I'm saying? Have something else to go to every day, right? Because you have idle minds, in the streets, and we got a lot of role models. We got a lot of role models too that we need to be focused on and have you guys work with, like my brother, what is it called? Credible Messenger. I don't know. You showed up to the meeting, so look at you. You ain't showed up to no meetings. I'm coming back, man. But yeah,
Tell us about your lifestyle, how you came, what you was born into, what you grew up in.
okay, I was born in the Central District. By Juanita Rolex and Willie Jefferson. Two bosses in their own right. And this is Will is my older brother. C's my oldest brother. That's him right there, Curtis. And that's my cousin. And I guess I was a troubled kid, right? And I was following behind my big brother. He taught me all the bad stuff I know. And we used to run away from home. We didn't have no real structure. There's a lot of aunties in here that tried to help. I was real rebellious. I didn't listen to them. They all tried to help, so they're all my parents. That's my auntie Deborah. That's like my mom. That's my auntie Kat. She took care of me. All them guys tried, but I needed some male role models in my life.
Yeah.
Some good ones, right?
Yeah.
They were doing positive stuff. All the role models that I saw, they were all doing negative stuff. So I want to be just like them. I want to be a pimp, a player, a gangster. And my whole life, I really want to be from Jackson. 20th Jackson Street. I don't know if you guys know where that's at. That's all I want to be. I want to be the biggest gangster from Jackson that ever lived.
How old you were when your brother was
My brother was 13, so I was 10, 11. We were already in the streets by that time, right? Because we didn't have no supervision. Our parents were on drugs. We were already in the streets. We were already selling dope and doing a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of today. But yeah, my brother went to jail, and it left me lost for a minute, right? Because me and my brother's real close to age. We fight all the time.
I'll win.
No. You see who the biggest is. But so when he left, it left a void in my life, and I just went to the streets. My brother came and tried to save me. My auntie tried to move me down to Atlanta. None of that worked. They sent me back fast. Soon as I came back, the first week I came back, I was locked up. I was incarcerated in a juvenile detention for something I didn't do. I sit there and witness somebody rob somebody, and I was there, but I didn't participate. I didn't have nothing to do with it, and they charged me for it because I was a Jemison, and my brother was locked up a year before that for murder at 13, right? So basically, they railroaded me for not telling, right? They railroaded me for not telling. They gave me a year and a half. I ended up doing 2 years and a half because I was so mad that I didn't do nothing. They incarcerated me for nothing. I was just so mad. I was fighting staff every day. I was beating up officers. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was just fighting. I didn't even know what I was fighting and why I was fighting, but I was born with this warrior spirit. So I didn't know who was attacking me. I didn't know how they was attacking me. I just knew that they were attacking me, and I was gonna fight back. I wasn't gonna sit there and take it in the chin because I'm not that type of person. We don't sit down where we come from, and we don't bend and we don't break. So the whole time I'm fighting the system. I'm going back and forth to court. I finally get it straight. Well, I think I acted up so much they just left me alone. They finally left me alone and they released me. I got released at Friday the 13th, 1999, and I was 17 years old. I went in when I was 14 years old, and I got released when I was 17. No skills, barely can read, barely can write, with a bad attitude and a chip on my shoulder. So, fast forward. Yeah.
From where you are right now, what would you have said to your younger you in that situation?
I don't think everybody. You can be feared, you can be loved. You know what I'm saying? You can be scary, you can be lucky, but you can always be smart. Read and outthink everybody. Everybody around you, run circles around them. It's chess, it's not checkers. Quit trying to be a brute force and bang every door down. Sometimes you just gotta turn the knob. Thank you guys, bro. I appreciate it a lot.
I just want to say something too. You know, I want to acknowledge Trey for giving us this space and this opportunity for my little brother. I don't even need the mic. Nah, for real, serious business. Serious business, because this is my little brother, and I love him. I love my big brother. I love my aunties, my uncles, my mom. But like my brother said, we're very close in age. And I can remember, he probably can't remember this experience, but I was still a child, he was still a child. When I was tried as an adult, and I'm in a courtroom, and I'm seeing different friends and family members filter in and out of the courtroom. And I had two experiences that really shook me to my core that I still can feel even till this day, right? Is that the residue of that experience still resides in the fabric of who I am. And one of those moments was my little brother, who was just 10 or 11, he hadn't seen his big brother that he'd been around for nearly almost a year. I'm fighting this case, and he walks in the courtroom, and he just smiled, and he wanted to walk over to his brother, and I'm sitting down like Brother Nuri Muhammad, and I look at my brother, and just being in the trial, it was obsolete at that moment. I seen my little brother, and as soon as he was walking over to me, the guard snatched him. Wow. And it just really reinforced that this system just is very diabolical when it breaks down families. And I remember that same institution my brother was sent to, I was actually kicked out of. And I was kicked out of, but before they can kick me out, they had to send me back to court because I was sentenced to serve until I was 18 in the juvenile. But they was like, he's acting up. Like once my brother said, I had a chip on my shoulder, fighting, and I stayed in solitary confinement. I never seen general population, so I was always in segregation. And my grandmother, or my paternal grandmother, my father's mother, primarily raised, well, both of my grandfather and my grandmother. And by this time, her diabetes had got so bad that one of her legs got amputated. So I never seen her like this in this condition. This is a black woman, I've always seen her strong. And I walk into the courtroom, and she's in a wheelchair. And I hadn't seen her in about 3 years because she'd been going through these health problems. And the only thing I wanted to do with the inner child in me just wanted to go up to my mom and give her a hug. And that's what I started to do. But then, like the same experience with my little brother, the guard grabbed me to remind me that we don't care about none of that. So just to be able to be here and knowing that me and my brother, we lost my mom, we lost my dad in the same space. Me and my brother was there when my dad passed away. He was on one side, I was on the other side. And I remember telling myself before I came home after serving 20 years, because my brother also, which you guys, he's not telling you, he's been shot about 9 times. Yeah. You know, because of that chip. You know, because of that chip on his shoulder. You know, that chip on his shoulder, being a fighter. And people, you know, I'm not lying, people fear him. You know, people fear him, and he's a good fighter. He can knock people out, and he's done that. You know, a lot of people fear him, so he's the type, if he don't shake your hand, and that's one of the situations with somebody walked up to him, he was like, man, and put his hand down. Dude was so scared that he shot my brother, you know? And I had restless nights. I never shared this with him. I had about 2 years left on my sentence, I believe, at that time. And I remember telling myself, I got enough of this, and no, I don't want any more. And I was plotting to kill this person when I came home. I'm gonna knock him off. I'm gonna knock him off. I'm gonna make sure that this individual will no longer get to see the light of day. But something happened in my spirit, and it was one of my Muslim brothers I had a conversation with, and he ain't no joke either. This brother, he ain't no joke. His name is Lonnie Dawson. He's with the original Black Mafia, and he's well known out of Philly. And he got transferred to this state from California, and I had a conversation with him about this situation, and he asked me a question that was very critical and pivotal at that moment. He said, what do you really want? Do you want this person who harmed your brother to no longer be alive, or do you want your brother to change his life so these things will no longer happen?
Yes.
And he said, you got to show up. You got to show up in a way that gives credence to one of those things that you want. And so that's what drives me to this day. And you know, and I'm glad that me and my brothers together. I love them with everything, my little brother. So thank you, Dre, for, you know, being a big brother to me as well. Taking the call, because we have a conversation with the streets. I love to see the Jay Morrisons, the Nur Muhammads, and everybody else that come through. But I'm like, we got to make sure that we connect with those vessels that are from here in the streets, man.
Guys, you're in for a treat. It's my honor to bring up student minister Nuri Muhammad. Brother, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that irregardless to land, language, or label, creed, class, or color, race, religion, or ritual, that there is but one God. We thank that one God for all of his messengers, his warners, and his prophets. We thank him for Moses and the Torah, Jesus and the Gospel, Muhammad and the Holy Quran. I come before you as a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and as his student, I'm eternally grateful to Almighty God, Allah, not just for those messengers, warners, and prophets that came up 9,000 miles ago, 9,000 miles away, 4,000, 1,400, or 2,000 years ago, but I'm thankful to the Supreme Being for intervening in our affairs as black people in the hills of North America in the person of a man named Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I would be remiss and really a hypocrite to our history to salute the Supreme Being for the great men and the great women that brought Scripture, and not salute that same Supreme Being for those revolutionaries, martyrs, and freedom fighters that fulfill Scriptures for black people in America.
That's right.
Soldiers like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., soldiers like Marcus Garvey, soldiers like Harriet Tubman, soldiers like Madam C.J. Walker, soldiers like Denmark Vesey and Gabriel Prosser and Nat Turner, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois. We salute all of these great ones that have come to strike a blow for our freedom. It is in the names of the great spiritual teachers, messengers, the martyrs, the revolutionaries, that I greet you, my brothers and my sisters, in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. To my brother Andre and the organization Not This Time, we salute you and thank you for all of the hard work you did to make this and what you do as a movement possible. Let's give this mighty warrior a round of applause. I'm so honored to be here, and I didn't know that I was going to be able to run into so many soldiers from Seattle, like our great sister soldier, Sister Davida. Sister, you are a very strong sister. You are a female but a fighter, a woman but a warrior, a lady but a liberator, and you are a sister of great strength. And to my brother Draco that presented, anytime a man can sit there and say, I got shot 9 times and giggle about it. The real truth of the matter is him and his brother Will, they were born, made by God with a specific breed of warrior in them that our people have been praying for the last 400 years. And they are soldiers in a citizen world. And that's how they got caught up. Another lecture for another time. To my great warrior on the battlefield that has a testimony like the testimonies that you all have expressed today, the great multi-millionaire, multi-platform, great genius. I consider Brother Jay to be kind of like that Swiss Army knife. You know, a Swiss Army knife, when you open it up, you got a knife, screwdriver, cork, fingernail clippers, scissors, all kind of stuff. Not only is this a brother that started the first crowdfunding for black people to be able to engage in collective bargaining and invest in a real estate fund. But he's a real estate tycoon in his own way, and also a freedom fighter and lover of black people. We thank you, Brother Jay, for your story. And I had something that I thought I was going to say, but I have to tell you that I believe that the Lord of the Worlds has renegotiated my contract. And I hope Brother Dre is okay with it. But to see Sister Davida represent herself and her 3 sisters that have lost the fathers to their children and the children from those men brought a statistic up in my mind that I wanted to share with us to show you how much of a state of emergency are we in right now as black people in America in general and black Seattle in specific. Do you know that there are more black males born than there are black females? But by the time the 2 reach the age 18, black females outnumber black males 7-1. This means that the black male is dying at the rate of an endangered species. Now you know that any time that a species goes in danger, they always start with some teleprompter, telemarketing team. They have something on TV to raise funds for them. They develop an organization to keep them from going extinct. They got corporations and organizations and different telethons that they have for the koala bear and for the bald eagle and for the white tiger and for the blue whale. But ain't nobody doing nothing for the black man. That's right. So it's up to us to save ourselves. What we found, sisters and brothers, is that there never has been a species that has gone into the category of endangered by natural causes. The only way a species goes into the category of endangered is if that species is in fact being hunted. So if the black male has reached the level of an endangered species, question is, who's hunting us? And how are in fact we being hunted? Did you know that in a 3-year window of time, every 3 years, 2,000 to 3,000 black males are killed by police officers or correctional officers? That's being hunted. But in that same 3-year time, that we were murdered by the by the police department. What, did I say something wrong? In that same 3-year cycle of time, that we lost 2,000 to 3,000 black males to police or correctional officers, we lost 25,000 black males at the hand of another black man. So we can't afford in 2019 to be standing outside of the White House with a Black Lives Matter sign and forget to post up outside the trap house too. Come on, nerd. We cannot afford to stand up and go to war and get mad every time white supremacy annihilates one of us, and not also clash with the negativity. Come on now. That, I said negativity. I know that ain't in the dictionary, but y'all know exactly what I'm saying. Negativity is a special type of negative only black people know how to do to one another. So we're down at the rate of an endangered species, so something has to be done. So my assignment today that I was given, I consider it to be a divine assignment, and that was to talk about how we can unite together to solve our own problems. All right. Why do I call it a divine solution or divine subject? It's because when you unpack the variables of the Bible and Holy Quran, you'll find that God's mathematics is always addition and multiplication. Yeah. And the devil's mathematics is always subtraction and division. Yeah. Anytime that you meet someone that represents a concept or an idea that's separating you from your brothers and your sisters, know that that's the devil in human form. Come on now. But when you meet someone that is trying to get you to add to, invest in, and multiply, then know that you're meeting God in human form. Come on now. Come on. And I submit that as a young black man, that all my life I've been hearing that all black people got to do, all we need is unity. And if you grew up in the 80s, you know back in the 80s, that's what all we need to do is we just got to unite. If we have any OGs in the audience that grew up as teenagers in the 70s, you know that in the 70s that we said all we need to do is, do we have any triple OGs? Huh? There might have been teenagers in the 50s and the 60s. If you are, what was we saying? All we got to do is what? What question is, if in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, do you know was in mathematics is an equal sign? So if the Word was God, Word equals God. When you put an equal sign between something, whatever the power has on the left, the object on the right has the same power. So if the Word is God and God is the Word, then the same force and power God has words have too. So if the Word is to become flesh and dwell among men, that's the natural maturation of the Word. You cannot have a word and the word not become an action. You can't have an action and that action ultimately not become a habit. You can't have a habit and that habit not form your character. And your character is what's going to dictate your destiny or your future. All words must become reality at some point. Well, question is, if we've been saying since the 30s and the 40s all the way up to now, all we need to do is unite. The word has went forth. Why come it hasn't dwelled among men? And I submit to you it's because we got a misunderstood word. We've been saying unity, but in our mind we're thinking uniformity. And there ain't never going to be no black uniformity.
Right.
Uniformity and unity is not the same thing. Uniformity means we all do the same thing in the same way at the same time, and we all look the same while we're doing it. Breaking news, everybody not going to be Church of God in Christ.
Right.
Breaking news, everybody not going to be Jehovah's Witness. Breaking news, everybody's not going to be inside of the masjid. Everybody's not going to be inside your temple or your church. God is bigger than your denomination. God is bigger than religion. We look like some fools, Black Seattle, sitting around arguing and word pontificating and playing word gymnastics. Arguing with which religion is the best when our people are dying in the streets. Them bastards didn't ask whether Trayvon Martin was a Christian or a Muslim. They didn't ask whether Sandra Bland went to church or the mosque. They didn't ask whether Freddie Gray was a Muslim or whether he was Church of God in Christ. When they see us, they treat us like we are one. So why don't we use some common sense and defend ourselves like we are one? Then after we defend ourselves, then let's have that conversation over philosophy and debate. But right now we look like that old story about the Jew, the Christian, and the Muslim that were on the bank of a river, and there was a man drowning in the river. Here come the Christian, he throws his rope out. The rope was too short to save the man drowned. Then here comes the Hebrew, he comes to the river, he throws his rope out. His rope was too short to save the man in the river. Then here comes the Muslim says, okay, let me throw my rope. His rope was too short to save the man drowning in the river. Now they're left with one or two options. Either they can stand on the bank of the river and argue over whose rope is the best, or they can use some common sense and tie all three ropes together and save that man that's drowning in the river. I'm saying to us that it's time for us to have unity among one another.
Yes.
Did you know that before we were kidnapped and Caucasianized and Westernized and Christianized by our enemy, that we didn't used to believe that in this old Eurocentric, I got to get mine, you got to get yours?
Make it plain, Merk.
We believe that it took a village to raise a child.
Come on now.
Not just a good mama and a good daddy, but the whole village had to be on deck to make sure our sons and daughters became great. And don't you know that whenever you and I call one another brothers and sisters, that we can restore the village concept just by starting off calling each other brothers and sisters? Because if I'm your brother and you're my sister, my son is your nephew and your daughter is my niece. That means every problem becomes a family problem. Does that make sense? Yes. Whenever we were coming up, we had an old axiom, each one, we always say it, but the real math was each one reach one and then teach one.
All right.
Why reach before you teach? Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Come on, man.
So before you can ever give somebody knowledge, you got to show them love. Does that make sense? we have this Eurocentric concept that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I say to you, if you want to go fast and far, we got to do it in unity.
That's right.
Did you know that a Belgian horse can pull 8,000 pounds all by itself? But if you connect it with another Belgian horse, the two can pull 25,000 pounds. Have you ever looked in the sky and seen geese flying? Have you noticed they always fly in a V formation? And one line is a little bit longer than the other line? Did you know that a goose flying by itself can only fly at 12 miles per hour? But when it's ranged in unity and ranks with its fellow geese and gander, it can go 65 miles per hour. And because they're in a V formation, notice that the one in the back is always a little bit, the one line is always a little longer. Do you know what that one is? That's the youngest one in the group. And the job of the youngest one in the group is to quote inspiration and to quack and get the other one to move forward. At a certain point, when the older goose gets a little tired, they move back and let the young goose lead. Did you know whenever the geese are flying, if one of them gets an injury and goes down, two of them break out of ranks and they go back and make sure they nurse the one back in shape and then they catch back up with the count? But they don't let that goose go down there and just be down there making no excuses.
Right.
You can't just start flying because you're tired. Oh no, see, real discipline, when you got discipline, you don't quit when you're tired, you quit when you're done. So when that goose goes down, when them two go down there, first thing they do, they start inspecting the beak and the wings and the feet. And if everything is okay and you just making an excuse, they fly and leave you behind. But if you got an organic issue, something really wrong with you, they'll stay there and nurse you back into shape and then fly with you in unity to get back to the ranks. By the fact that they're in the V formation, each time one flaps their wings, the wind from the geese in front is loaned to the geese behind, and the geese behind them, they now can fly 71% farther and five times faster than they ever could fly by themselves. I submit to you that we can do the same thing.
Yes, sir.
I want to say this in closing because I got something I got to say to these young brothers and sisters, and then I'm done. There's something about doing the same thing at the same time with your brothers and sisters that you activate your spiritual peripheral vision and you can borrow strength from one another without you even knowing it. One day I was training with my partner. We were training for a marathon. And we was on this day, our training run was a 21-mile run. I said 21. You burned 200 calories just saying that. We out there, we getting ready to run 21 miles at one time, and that was a training run. But me and my partner, see, I was in the nation, he wasn't. So I was always talking about 1 meal a day, clean living. He was always talking about you gotta have fun, you gotta let it go, you gotta party a little bit, you got so he was dibbling and dabbling and whatever he was dibbling and dabbling. And every time we would be running, I would be talking about I'm eating 1 meal a day, brother, and 1 meal a day. And if I got tired, he said, brother, you gotta get you some breakfast. You can't be out here doing all this distance running without no oatmeal or something. And every time he'd be running, he'd get tired, I'd be messing with him. That's them biscuits on you, boy. Yeah. So we kind of was in like righteous competition. So this day, Brother Andre, we out on a 21-mile run, and I got to the 17-mile marker, and I was hurting bad. But I looked over at my brother. His back was straight. Stride was good. Had a nice pace. And I ain't gonna lie, it was the first I came out, I said, I'm not getting let no cognac nipping. Rocky Mile smoke. Cheeseburger eating Negro outrun me. If he can do it, then I can. I didn't say it out loud, but I kept running. Brother Will, we got all the way to the end, and word is bond, we both fell out in the grass. And while we was laying in the grass with our eyes closed, you won't believe what this brother had the audacity to lean over and say to me. He said, brother, got to be honest, man, I was hurting real bad around that 17-mile mark. said, but I looked over at you and your back was straight. And your stride was good. And you had such a good pace. I said, man, if he can do it, so can I. Point is, we borrow strength from one another without even communicating with one another. See, that's what unity is going to look like. The minute that we make up our mind that we are willing to use our spiritual peripheral vision, let me say something to you, Brother Will, Sister B. Don't you ever regret what you've been through and whatever decision you made in the past. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because whatever you did then has you the way you are now. If you change anything, you change everything. So whatever you went through, accept that is a part of making you what you are. And I want to say to the young high school students that came in a little earlier, I want to show you something, just give you a principle that I hope you will use. This will allow you to activate what I call the override mechanism in your own brain. The override mechanism that will kill any spirit-killing, dream-snatching, purpose-assassinating teacher that you ever met in your life. Or any cousin, auntie, mother, and father that tried to tell you that you wasn't going to be nothing because misery loves company. Yeah. Some point in your life, you shared a big idea with a small-minded person. And they told you what you could not do instead of what you could do. But I want you to know this. Remember this, young soldiers. There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. I don't care whether you come from the projects, whether your mama was on dope, daddy was on dope, no matter what you came from, if you got your mind made up, there's no force in the heaven above, nor the earth beneath that can stop you from achieving your objective. Now, when we go into schools and tell the students that there's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind, everybody looks at me with their little sad look, with their little smirk like, yeah, whatever. But if you go in science, you'll find that the formula for power is power equals work divided by time. And work divided by time is another way of saying speed. So if you ever want to find out what the most powerful object is in the universe, all you got to find is the fastest moving object. Well, we came here to this meeting today in an object that people use every day that goes pretty fast. You get a nice Bugatti or some sports car, it can go 200 miles per hour. That's fast. You take a Bugatti and you put it next to a Ford Focus, you open the hood of both of them, you'll say, man, the Ford Focus can't go near as fast as this Bugatti. The engine's way bigger in this one, and the Bugatti can go way faster than the Ford Focus because it has more horse power. Speed is power. We came in yesterday on another mode of transportation that goes on average of 500 miles per hour. So if speed equals power, a plane has more power than a car. But there's something else in the universe that has the car and the plane beat. You're hearing me talk right now. Sound travels on the average of 1,120 feet per second. That's fast. But there's something else in the universe that got the sound and the plane and the car beat. Believe it or not, it's the planet that we're on. We live on a planet that's 24,896 miles in circumference, 7,926 miles in diameter. It has 57,255,000 square miles of land that stick about of 139,685,000 square miles of water. 68,634,000 square miles of the water is the Pacific Ocean. 41,321,000 square miles is the Atlantic Ocean. 29,430,000 square miles is the Indian Ocean. There's 1 million square miles of lakes and rivers. 4,861,000 square miles of desert. And with that much size, that much volume, that much water, and that much mass, it still travels every 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds, one revolution on its axis, because it's moving at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. That's fast. So whenever they say money is power, but where did money come from? Money came from what? Paper. And paper came from and the tree came up out of gold is power. Where's gold at? Diamonds, where's diamonds at? Oil gives you power, but where's the oil? So the earth has more power than the sound, than the plane and the car. But there's something else in the universe that got all of them beat. Believe it or not, it's light. Did you know the sun is 93 million miles away? 853,000 miles in diameter, with 10 to 20,000 mile high flames coming off of its surface, burning at 14,072 degrees. But one ray of light can make a 93 million mile journey from the sun to the Earth's equator in 8 minutes and 20 seconds because light moves at 186,000 miles per second. So light got more power than the sound, than the planet, than the plane, and the car. But guess what? I said there's nothing more powerful than a what? Made up. Well, what's a mind made up of? A mind's made up of thoughts. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the average speed of thought is 24 billion miles per second. There's nothing in the universe moving faster than the speed of thought. So if you got your mind made up, there's no spirit killing people, no purpose attachment, no dream snatcher, no friend, family, nothing in the hood that can stop you from achieving your goals. Your mind has been made up. So I'm saying to us, that if we're going to reclaim our youth, Brother Andre, then we have to make sure that every black child that grows up from this day forward, you're their uncle, you're their auntie, instill in them the mindset that there's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. And if you make them believe that and they accept that in their heart, they will have access to an override mechanism that will make them be able to be whatever they want to be, do whatever they want to do, and you can have whatever you want to have. Thank you for listening. I greet you in peace.
Big round of applause for King Dre, please. King Dre. I need y'all to all feel bad for me. Y'all gonna make me come after all that. Y'all done 5-piece me. But I gotta say, do I even need this? I don't need this. I got a secret weapon though. So before I present for you all, and I'm gonna try to expedite it so we're ready for food. I don't want y'all emptying your seats, but I do have a word for you. I do have a message for you. Before I do that, since they want to hit me with a 5-piece, and have me come close this thing out after the, oh man, everybody, man, so much love, so much inspiration. I'm gonna bring up my secret weapon, my better half, my best half, the best wife, Mrs. Ernestine Morrison. Go ahead, sis.
Dear black man, I had dreams of one day you holding my hand, walking me down the aisle, giving me off to another black man that you saw fit. High hopes that one day you would escape this system's messed up grip, dear black man. You were supposed to be the first man I loved, the first man that loved me. But how can I expect you to know how to be in my life when you don't even know how to be in your own? Snatched from your home, chain whipped and stripped from every piece of truth, culture, and knowledge that you have ever known. Dear black man, my heart bleeds for you. My heart bleeds for little black boys who never got the chance to become black men. See, when you were a little boy, you weren't always taught to love because you were forced to work. Couldn't fathom the idea of receiving love because before you hit puberty, your heads were already filled up with so much hurt, dear black man.
Come on, sis.
My heart bleeds for you. My heart bleeds for the black boys whose childhoods have been robbed with no probable cause. To little black boys who no longer believe in Santa Claus. To little black boys who have been mentally enslaved, incarcerated, sold, shot, chained, and whipped. To little black boys whose innocence have been stripped, I bleed for you. Dear black men, you come from gold, queens, kings, diamonds, and pharaohs, but can't wear your chain too low in the hood because then you're looked at as a stunner. But my heart bleeds for the Will Browns of the world who couldn't enjoy a blue winter because in Omaha he suffered a red summer. See, my heart bleeds for George Stinney. 14 years old, 90 pounds, wrongfully accused of murder because he didn't have the complexion for the protection and he was sentenced to death. He had to sit on the Holy Bible. He had to sit on the Holy Bible as a booster seat. But dear black men, when lifted by the Spirit of God, your soul they can't defeat.
Come on now.
Dear black man, I'll gracefully paint an image of your face in the sky with the colors in my mind just so your royal legacy doesn't become myth. But those colors fade to shades of gray when I think about Thomas Shipp and Abram Smith, dripping with hues of blue when I think about James Cameron, who escaped with a freaking noose around his neck. Dear black man, I know it's hard to find truth in who you are since the day they snatched you off your thrones. You've had to fight for your self-worth and respect. Dear black man, I need you to know that you are the perfect definition of love. The type that makes the world spin. Dear black man, you are the perfect definition of love, the type I have been searching for my entire life. The perfect synonym of good, virtuous, true, worthy, good standing, and high-minded. Dear black man, don't let this villainous, corrupt system keep you blindsided. See, my heart bleeds for Trayvon Martin. My heart bleeds for Jordan Davis. My heart bleeds for Oscar Grant. My heart bleeds for Sean Bell. My heart bleeds for Kimani Gray. My heart bleeds for Amado Diallo. My heart bleeds for Tamir Rice. My heart bleeds for Mike Brown. My heart bleeds for Jamarian Robinson. My heart bleeds for Eric Garner. My heart bleeds for Philando Castile. My heart bleeds for Alton Sterling. Dear black man, my heart bleeds. My heart bleeds. Dear black man, guide our little black boys so they can find their way back to being kings.
That's two of us. That's two of us. And that dear brother, Minister Noor Muhammad, is the minister that married us. He is the man that brought and presented our nuptials. So family, it's my pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Jay Morris, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Tulsa Real Estate, I'm the CEO and founder of the historic Tulsa Real Estate Fund, the first ever black-owned real estate crowdfund in the history of America. I'm also the CEO and founder. I'm a dual CEO. I'm the CEO and founder of the Jay Morrison Academy, which for the last 2 years has made the Inc. 500, number 588 fastest growing companies in the country. Last year, number 13 top educational companies in the country. And this year, number 10 top educational companies in the entire country. So I stand before you as a dual CEO, as a 38-year-old black man that manages over 20 million in real estate and business assets. I stand before you also as a 3-time felon. I stand before you as a ex-super trapper, dope boy. I stand before you as an 11th grade high school dropout. I stand before you as an ex-convict who served 2.5 years in prison for drug trafficking in 7 different prisons. I stand before you as someone who's never received a college education. I stand before you as someone who left the street corners of Newark, New Jersey, South 10th and Springfield Ave in 2005. Brick City, South Side. I stand before you as a 2-time best-selling author. I stand before you as a frontline liberator, fighter, activist who stood for justice for Freddie Gray in Baltimore in 2015, who stood for justice for Alfred Wright in Hempville, Texas, who stood for justice for Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge Frontline, who stood for justice for many of our brothers and sisters on the front line, who has also founded the Corner Class and have held over 63 free corner classes in inner cities all over the country, over 28 corner classes to 28 cities, 63 free lectures in the hood, in Chicago, in Detroit, in Dallas and Houston, in Bankhead, in Little Haiti, Miami, in Brick City, in the Bronx. And who's also held the legendary 24-hour corner class from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. I taught 12 classes in 24 hours straight, in real life. All that sounds cool. I thank God for my testimony, for my journey, for my story. I was born to a 17-year-old mom who got off the abortion table to have me. I suffered abuse when I was young. My stepfather, who raised me, and he did a lot of things well, but I was also emotionally and physically abused. He had a 13-year heroin addiction. My mom sold drugs. My father sold drugs. My grandfather sold drugs. That was a trade that was passed down to me. I started selling drugs my first time selling drugs was 6th grade. I attempted to sell weed. I got serious about it by sophomore year in high school. My first time seeing my biological father, I was 7 years old. My second time, I was 9 years old. My third time seeing my biological father, I was 17 years old. I was selling crack and he was smoking crack. Our first interaction in 10 years was me selling him 2 for $35. My biological father taught me how to cook crack on a stove and a microwave, and I began trafficking from New Jersey to Lincoln, Nebraska. I took 2 ounces of coke in my side pocket of a Nietzsche shorts, I had a blue Yankee fitted on and some Tim boots. And flew from Newark Airport to Lincoln, Nebraska, where I was taught how to cook up, and I started rocking out on this Midwest. And then began my drug trafficking career through my teens. At 18 years old, I got locked up in New York on Riverside with a quarter kilo of coke and a loaded handgun. Was facing 3 years to life in prison at 18 years old. All these stories, my life transformation, what I want to leave you with is not just inspiration, motivation, and hope. So what I think about when I was thinking about this whole time, and everyone spoke to this, is really about what's the blueprint, what's the sauce, how do we save our people? And so I want to give you guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of real estate game on the way over here. What I truly believe in is that every single person, no matter what your personal circumstance is, we all have the power. We all have the ability to rise in upward economic mobility. We all can beat the trap. I don't mean just the corner trap. I'm talking about the college trap too.
Come on now.
You done went to college and racked up all that student loan debt and still ain't got a job. I'm talking about the corporate trap. You done work 9 to 5 for all them years and still ain't got no assets. I'm talking about the correctional trap. You done came home from the pen, went back to the pen, came back to the pen, back to the pen. So there's a method. There's a secret sauce that I want to leave us with today. And there's 2 quick little lessons I want to give us, and I will give us some financial game before we break bread and eat. That lesson looks like this. And you guys can take notes on your phones, you can record this. I want y'all to leave with this.
Yes, sir.
This message is called, this is the hood wealth plan. I want everybody to say SSI. SSI. What's SSI? What is it? What is it? It's something that we want it though, right? What this SSI is, I'm gonna tell you all the secret sauce to how I walked away from the corner of 10th and Springfield one day. Cold turkey, I ain't have no plan. I still had 2 ounces of coke, I had some dope, gave all my work away to my man, cracked my trap phone out my window, and then said, I'm gonna go into real estate, full steam ahead, full time. Went broke going into real estate. When I left the streets, I had $30,000. And a white gold chain with a diamond pendant that said J on it. A Cartier watch and a Rolex watch. In real life. I just had sold my Navigator. I paid cash for off the lot. I sold my Navigator to pay off my mom's foreclosure and tax lien. My mom had a 12 grand tax lien. I sold my Navigator for $26,000. Paid off my mom's tax lien. Bought me a little Chrysler 300. Ended up crashing it. Then got a Mercury Grand Marquis as my little hoop ride. My mom bought a property that I gave her $3,000 for. She bought a $100,000 house for $3,000 down. 3 years later, that house was worth $100,000 more than what we paid for it. But she was in foreclosure and had a tax lien. I paid off my mom's tax lien after I sold my truck. She said, Maine, that's where I come from the hood, they call me Maine. Maine, when I sell, I'm gonna take care of you. I said, Mom, don't even worry about it. My mom ended up selling the house, cashing out for like $99,000 profit off a house we didn't even renovate, we ain't do nothing in it. I trapped off the porch of the house. Right in the middle of the hood, we made $100,000 by just living there. My mom sold me $99,000, she gave me $33,000. I took part of my $33,000, went and bought 700 grams. In real life. In real life. I took that 700, did my due, and put it together, and had a whole one. and sent that thing down.
Right.
And on that trip, my transporter, she got caught because somebody else was setting us up that we didn't know on the other side. A king that got caught with a gun, and instead of taking accountability for his crime, his bright idea was to transfer his misery over to us. The cops illegally searched her vehicle. We ended up bailing her out and beat the whole charge. But I had the perfect, I thought, drug operation. I didn't touch nothing. I got my money, I gave it to Queen. Queen went up top to Yonkers. She went and seen you know who.
Right.
She brought it back to Irvington to our apartment that we had. She busted down on a platter. She sprayed it down. She put it in a bag. They twisted it in the machine. She sent it off. She drove down and came back with my money. I never touched nothing but money. I could never get caught. So I thought. Until somebody else tells, or she's pressured and she tells, and says, you know what, the 3-time felon ex-dope boy, he the one that sent me. So, seeing that even my perfect operation could be destroyed, seeing that I had 3 felonies, and seeing that I could go to prison for a long, long time, on that coke route, I decided to switch my hustle and start selling dope in Newark, New Jersey, because coke wasn't working. Start selling heroin. That was my bright idea. Listen, my dope route was fucked up, but my coke route was fucked up. I had to switch it up. So I started selling dope. The coke game messed up. Hey, bring the heroin on. That's how committed I was to the streets. Now I'm hustling in Newark, New Jersey. We hustle with Bloods and Crips. I got shooters. I mean, guys that get it done for $2,500.
Yeah.
A rack on a bad day. In real life.
Yeah, real.
But I'm out here the big fish. I'm the one supplying everybody.
Yeah.
So that same Mercury Grand Marquis, I remember one day, Brother Nord, I'm in the Mercury Grand Marquis. I was taking my daughter to, my daughter who's 20 now, goes to one of the top 20 colleges in the country. She's actually the first black president of her sorority. My daughter was born while I was in prison. First time seeing her was on the visiting room floor. My daughter used to be on the bed at the hotels while I'm bagging up the whole thing. Now she's going honor student, foreign exchange student, all that. Anyway, she used to model as a child. So in New York one day, this truck swiped my Grand Marquis and knocked my driver's side door handle off. So now I gotta stick my finger in the hole to open my door because I ain't got a handle. So now I'm in the hood in Newark selling dope. I got a few bundles in the glove compartment, and there's a line of customers on 100 and Avon. This is real life. On 100 and Avon, we got a line of customers 6 in the morning waiting to get their bricks. I can't get in the damn glove compartment if this shit fucking key ain't working. And it's people that's just lined up. We looking obvious as hell. So I gotta break my damn glove compartment open to get to work, to get this shit out so I can get out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck a glove compartment, I need to get this work going. Right? Saying all to say, I end up leaving the streets, right? So one day I'm in the corner of Newark, New Jersey, 6 in the morning, my whole team, they moving around. I'm just watching, right? And I had an epiphany. When I was in prison, my big homie, Thor from Fort Greene, Brooklyn, my first bid, I've never been to jail before. I'm in prison, I'm in the Tombs in Manhattan, I'm facing 3 years of life in prison. I'm on my way to Rikers Island, where I spent some time, Mod 3 Upper, C-74. And my big homie was like, listen, everybody in jail act gangster. Everybody a tough guy. But when they get in themselves, they be crying at night. He said, listen, I want to give you some game. What he said was, you got to be honest with yourself. Forget who you put on to be for everybody else, or who they put on to be for you. The first part of how we get out of this madness is honest self-reflection.
Talk about it, Jay.
That's the first step of all this. We do so much pretending and so much Instagram posting, but we ain't who we supposed to be. This is what I always say in real life. You talk about all this activism and all this what you do and all you love your people, but love is an action word. Where's the love in real life?
Right.
You talk about you broke and it's them and they fault. Right? While you can't do the things you say you want to do with your life. talk about why you can't keep your light bill on, why you can't go get a class, why you can't do this, but you just spent $300 for J's.
Yeah. Make it plain.
You talk about what you can't pour into yourself, what you can't do. But what about your loud bill?
Right.
You talk about how poor you are, but how your kids got Xboxes then. You talk about you ain't got no family assets, but you got life insurance on your phone with no life insurance on your fucking life.
Bring it out.
Conversation with the streets.
You could get a $250,000 life insurance policy with decent health for $20 a fucking month. So if you do pass away, you talk about you gangster and you smart. You out here trying to murder something, you ain't even got insurance on your life. You spend more on your loud bill than your goddamn insurance for your life. So at least if you gangbang and you do get hit, your family get a bag when you gone. You ain't gangster, you dumb. Honest reflection. So that day in North New Jersey, right, I'm on the block, and I love what you said. See, I always thought around everybody. See, when we were selling drugs, everybody had the big gold chains, big Jesus pieces. Bro, I'm out here bumming rides. I got a shoestring on my neck with my safe key on it, white tees. Why do I want to look like a drug dealer when I'm fucking selling drugs?
Right.
Part of the game is that.
Yeah.
You out here announcing to the fucking everybody that, hey, I sell drugs. Like we got dumb over the years. So I'm saying I always just thought smart. I'm not going to advertise to the people that's trying to lock me up or rob me that, hey, this is what I fucking do. Genius. Because now, so back to the block. So I'm in New Jersey and I'm thinking about my life, right? I'm approaching 25 years old. I know I got the 3 felonies. I'm thinking about my daughter, thinking about my mom. My daughter had a back to school, father-daughter day thing. And they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I do real estate. Lying like a motherfucker. Only bricks I sell is dope. And so I thought about it on the block, and I'm like, you know, damn, I'm not doing nothing my daughter could be proud of. Yeah, she got some diamond earrings. My daughter got some J's. I could bring a big bag from Children's Place and show off, like, yeah, look what I got. But I got nothing she'd be proud of. I get knocked one more time, bro. She gonna be seeing me for 10, 13 years, like, growing up that way. Then I'm thinking about all the guys that's working for me. I'm like, yo, they have one bad day. They have no allegiance to me. I ain't grow up with them. I'm just a big fish. Any given time, I could be 8. So I'm thinking about this, right? I'm just logical. I'm just reasonable. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, well, where I'm going to be when I'm 30? Can I last 5 more years at this? Now, when I was 17, I believe I'll be a super trapper, kingpin. I believe the shit. I believe with all my heart that drugs were going to save me. For real, with all my heart.
Yeah.
I knew it. I used to do the math in school. Like, yeah, I'm making, all right, $3,500 a week times 52 weeks. All right, I have a million in about. I had it all figured out. Thinking about at 25 years old, I'm like, bro, I just had the perfect operation that got destroyed. I'm out here hustling with savages. By the time I'm 30, I'm going to be dead or in jail. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Nah, I got it. Let me think about it again. And I literally can only imagine for myself being dead or in jail. So me being the wise young king that I am, I didn't say, you know what, let me get one more flip off. Let me bust a couple other moves. I already saw the play.
Right.
I pivot fast. If I can't even see my own path working, why the f would I go down that path?
Right.
So that day, I'm like, yo, y'all, I'm out.
That day.
I gave the work to my man. Yo, you figure that shit out. Go ahead. I don't even want nothing back. I got introduced to real estate in 2002 while I was on intense supervision parole. During a men's group meeting on a Saturday at a church, Pastor Antoine Thomas had felons. We had to have a men's group meeting every Saturday, breathalyzer test, urine test, 6 o'clock curfew. I hated parole so much, my bright idea was, fuck parole, I'm going back to jail so I come home with no papers. I'm gonna turn myself in on parole, go back to jail, to finish my time in jail because I hated parole. This is what I told the men's group. Pastor Thomas said, great idea, Jay. Before you do that, take this car. My wife's a processor at a mortgage company. I want you to try and at least interview with them. You're clean cut, you speak well. I'm like, I don't know nothing about no mortgages, bro. I don't know that stuff. He said, just try it. So I put on my Sunday khakis and my button up. I walked into the mortgage company. They hired me for an all-commission job. I got no salary. So I'm like, what's a mortgage? They're like, listen, people that buy houses, they get a loan from the bank, right? They explained it to me, showed me the 1003, how you, I didn't know any of that stuff.
1003, 1008.
All that. They walked me through it. And so my grandmother supported me, like, listen, I'm about to refinance my house. Come do a loan on my house. Refinance my grandmother's house, made like $3,300. Then my aunt like, all right, cool, me too, fine. Refinance my aunt's house, made like $2,900. I'm like, yo, I just made like 6 racks. Pushing papers. I'm like, wait, people make this kind of money pushing papers? I'm like, yo, I gotta go to the city, I gotta dodge cops, I gotta go back up, I gotta go back to dodge scale, I gotta do all this for 6 racks. You telling me y'all sit in here and push papers and make 6 racks?
Yes.
I'm like, this shit is dope. In real life. I learned about building my credit, secure credit cards, secure loans, right? Found out my credit was all right. I had one little cable bill I didn't feel like paying in a Sprint bill. Started working on my credit, graduated the parole program, but ended up going back to the streets, right? This is 2002. I left the streets 2005. So for 3 more years, I was like, all right, that shit was cool, but back to this money. Right. Anyway, in 2005, I left that corner, and I said, you know what? What would happen if I put the same energy I've been putting into the trap for the last 10 years? What if I put that same energy full-time into real estate? See, I dabble with real estate, like, all right, let me see if I get a 4-family real quick. Let me see. But I never gave my 100% undivided attention. So I said, am I a drug dealer or am I a hustler? Because see, a drug dealer only can sell drugs. A true hustler can hustle anything. So I'm like, nah, I'm a real hustler. Fuck, I'm a real hustler. Shit, I'm a real hustler. I ain't just no drug dealer. So I left the corner that day. And my plan was to put all my swag, all my charisma, all my grind, all my hustle, put it into real estate 100% and see what happens. So I left my $30,000, my Diamond J chain, my Cartier watch, my Rolex, and my Mercury Grand Marquis with the shoestring holding my glove compartment together and my driver's side door handle missing. Got my mortgage license, went and bought my first property, 100% financing. Got my mama house with the rest of the cash she had from the house he sold. Bought my mama house under my name because I had better credit than she did. She had the foreclosure. I had built my credit since 2002. Got a house under my name from my mom with her proceeds from the property. Took my proceeds, a little bit of money I had left, got 100% financing on a 2-family house with 4 acres of land. Got another crib after that. Got my mortgage. Then I saw the realtor made the commissions on my crib. I'm like, wait, he sold me the property 2 times. You got 13,000? Yeah. Like, bro, you sold me the crib 2 times. You don't deserve 13,000. Right. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get my real estate license then. I went and got my real estate license, had my mortgage license, and then started flipping and buying houses. Now, I bought bad houses. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And then, in the mortgage industry, I'm gonna get back to self-reflection in a second, I started getting distracted and I wasn't putting my full energy in. I look up in 9 months and I'm broke. I got the same Mercury Grand Marquis. I'm dead broke. My 30,000 I had, I ran through that. I was still used to living a certain lifestyle, but that 30 started dipping real quick when you ain't making no money. Now I'm borrowing money from my mom to pay, keep my light bills on, and because my 2-family I bought wasn't even covering my whole mortgage. So 9 months in, Brother Nori, 9 months in, I'm like, you know what, this real estate shit ain't working. It's a wrap. I start calling back. Yo, what's prices? Your boy about to be back. You already know, right at the block, you know what it is. That month I was ready to quit the real estate game and go back to the streets. That month, I closed like 7 deals, made $13,000. The next month, I made $30,000. 4 months later, I made $93,000. Within my first 3 years, I made over $1 million cash in real estate. In real life. But what I'm saying to say about that through my journey in this story about honest self-reflection is that we gotta start getting real with ourselves. You know if you're being lazy.
Go ahead.
You know if you eat too much.
Yeah.
You know if you're not spiritually in line. Stop blaming somebody else for your problems when you ain't giving your all to what you can do for your fucking self. Stop blaming somebody else, bro, when you know you want to go to your phone and go to how much time on your screen share, how much time you active on your phone.
Yeah.
How you saying you broke when you spend 33 hours a week on your fucking phone?
Go ahead.
You so broke, but you got time for Power, for Shade Room, for Netflix and chill. But you so broke. But it's everybody else's fault.
Make it plain.
You're not doing everything you truly could do to benefit your situation. So it comes down to self-reflection first, and then with self-reflection, you gotta be mature enough to have self-accountability.
Come on now.
This is the real sauce.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm telling you, I'm giving everybody exercise. Go home and look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes, not your face, not your waves. Look yourself in the eyes. In the eyes, and be real with yourself. Self, am I giving myself 100%?
Go ahead.
Self, am I giving myself 100%? We can't complain about our situations when we're truly not giving ourselves our all and making the best moves we know to advance our situation.
That's right.
So if you know, right, so I'm going to get into real estate and credit and all that in 1 second. It's going to be a quick listen.
Take your time.
If you know that you're underinformed about how real estate works, if you know you don't know how to build wealth, if you know you are underexposed to this information, how intentional are you about getting the freaking information? So now we get into that piece, SSI. Information. This is what changes your life. What gives me the confidence to go out into the streets and to be an activist, a community leader, to be pro-black and to be a liberator and to do all these things is that nobody cuts my checks but me.
Come on, bro.
I feel so empowered, so invigorated. For real. In real life. And here's the thing. See, people sometimes take my self-empowerment, my self-confidence, that self thing I got. That's not arrogance. That's not boastfulness. I give all praises to Allah, all praises to God. He brought me through this. I got my purpose. I know my journey. It ain't about me. But what I do know is that I can be rich today. I'm comfortable if I get knocked off tomorrow. Because what I know, I can always bounce back.
Yeah.
See, I can't say I'll never be broke. But I can guarantee you I'll never be broke for long. I know too much. That's the sauce. I can create money out of thin air. Out of thin air, knock me off my feet. I'm always going to get a bag. I know too fucking much. I was talking about it on the way over here. I was saying, I can literally show a bum under the goddamn train tracks, under the bridge. A homeless person. I can literally show them how to come up from being homeless with nothing. And I'm going to get you on that game in just a second. Here's how this works. If you are honest with yourself, that's the first part, because now you can say, you know what, damn, I'm a bum because I fucking drink too much. I smoke too much crack, shit. Right? I'm in a situation I'm in, and mind you, I didn't curse this much a couple months ago, but then I got real with myself. I like to fucking curse. That's how I get my message across. Now listen, I can articulate myself and be very communicative, and I can go from the block to the boardroom or the corner office to the corner, but from the streets to the suites, but that's how I choose to be. Now, if I want to clean it up, I can, but I ain't got to clean it up. I got my own fucking checks. I don't rely on nobody, bro. This is called power. This is liberation, bro. Don't tell me if you were distracted by the words I used, of some made-up words, of some letters put together of a language that's not even ours. That's your problem. You focus on the wrong fucking things. You tripping over pennies on your way to pick up dollars. I'm giving you dollars over here. You blow up goddamn them pennies. You tripping over pennies on the way to pick up dollars. That's self-reflection. You know you petty. You petty. You know you're in insecure. You know you're a hater. You know you're envious. Look yourself in the eyes and rub. I've been jealous of people before. Like, God damn, that shit, they crib big as fuck. I had to check myself. Jay, that's they hustle. That's they grind. Get back in your lane.
Go ahead.
I'm okay with being real with myself. I can be transparent. I can be vulnerable.
Go ahead.
That's the problem. We can't even be transparent with our fucking self. You go out lying to yourself, acting like you're somebody that you're not. Like, no, I ain't no hater. No. I'm just saying that because, really, my problem with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is because, they shouldn't be marketing like that. It look like a rap video. Bro, what are you talking about? Why you mad is because a 3-time felon with no college education did something that your financial ass couldn't do in all these years with all the master's degrees. That's why you mad. Be real about it. You mad you got all these master's degrees, you got $80,000 student loan debt, you pronounce yourself to be a financial expert, but the guy with no college education is a high school dropout, a 3-time felon, went and did something that no other black man in the fucking country did in life. That's what you mad about. My point is, let's just be real with ourselves. Once you do that, you can move to self-accountability, and then you start putting yourself in a position to get the information you need to be able to empower yourself and do what you really want to do. Just say, you know what? I really like that shit. I wish I did it. Now, how can I do it? That honesty is liberating, right? It's the first thing we got to do. I see us make so many. I'm going to give you an example of these excuses as I get into the next part of this lesson. Gotcha. I can do 10. So, in our school, right, I try to empower our community. So, through my school, I basically give the game away practically for free. I have about 1,000 YouTube videos, Instagram University, all that. But we have a curriculum, 85 lessons, 36 hours of content, tests, quizzes, certifications, all that online where you can learn the RBCs of real estate, business, and credit. Our tuition is starts at $197, not a month, not a semester, a year. $197 a year to learn 85 lessons on real estate, business, and credit, 36 hours of content. People say, but bro, I can't afford it though. But I can't afford it though. So listen, I click on the Instagram page. They got a $400 Louis belt on. And Gucci sneakers. And $200 weave. Yeah, I got y'all too, queens. My point is, what are we willing to sacrifice? What are we willing to be disciplined about? See, when I was broke, I was bankrupt before. After I made millions, I blew it all, went broke, and filed bankruptcy. I'm talking about 30-year-old man broke. I'm talking about where a McDonald's sweet tea and apple pie was my happy shit. That was a come up. But what I realized is that what I've been willing to do in my life is I've been willing to sacrifice all my luxuries, my luxury time, my luxury expenditures, and all that to get to where I want to go. So we talk about how broke we are, but we have the latest iPhone. How broke we are, but you got the maximum cable bill. How broke you are, but you stay on vacation. You stay doing a Valentine's Day. You stay doing a birthday trip.
For real.
You broke, but you stay on a birthday trip. You broke, but your kids stay with some Christmas gifts. You worry about Christmas to keep up with the Joneses, and your last name not even Jones. As opposed to being honest with yourself, saying, listen, my goal is family legacy. My goal is to get out of poverty. So let me discipline and sacrifice today so I can build something stronger for later. So there's 2 little lessons I want to give you real quick before I get to RBC. Or 1 lesson before RBC. It will be within the next 7 minutes. NIP, NIP. Rest in peace to King Nip. But the end, right? 1 second. I'm going to make sure I get my thought right. So as we go through our SSI, what was my end? I'm drawing a blank. So I'm going to start with my I. Boom. I, simple as that. God didn't want in first. He wanted I first. What's intentional mean? Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Purpose.
On purpose. When we talk about these things we want to accomplish in life, we got to do it on purpose. You're not going to build wealth by accident. You're not going to beat poverty by accident. You're not going to get out the trap by accident. You got to do it on purpose. You got to be intentional about it. We don't move intentionally enough. We act like this wealth will fall from the sky. Oh, because I want to be wealthy, I should be wealthy. The Bible even tells you faith without works is dead.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to actually put in action and works to get to where you want to go. Right? Now I got my end. No excuses. Just results. Listen, no matter what excuse you want to make, oh, I grew up in poverty. Yo, I got 3 felonies. Hey, I was abused. Hey, listen, if you use that excuse, it was oppression, it was white supremacy. Okay, great. Now, at the end of the day, what's the freaking result? So, this was your chessboard, right? You're not lying, you're being honest. You were abused. You're being honest, you got felonies. You're being honest, you grew up in poverty. You're being honest, you didn't get a good education. You're being honest, great. But the end result is you still got to make something of your life.
Yes, sir.
No matter what that chessboard looks like, no matter what hand you were dealt, either you're going to be a nobody in life or you'll be a somebody in life. So you making an excuse does not justify your current circumstance. Does not justify your future. That's where the self-accountability comes in. You acknowledge what you've been through and where you're at. Cool, that is what it is. But I cannot settle for my outcome to be one that's unacceptable to me. That's why I walked away from the corner. That's why I did it. That's why I created the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. We say we want group economics, Black Wall Street. We keep talking about it. I keep waiting for some other leader to come save us. But if we really want Black Wall Street, if we really want group economics, then let's do it on purpose.
Yes, sir.
No excuses. What's the end result? Can we unify our dollars? All the talk, all the, oh, was this, was that. Those are all things that make us feel better about not getting it done.
Go ahead now.
That's what your excuses are.
Yes, sir.
Your excuses just make you feel better because you didn't get it done.
That's right.
That's your bailout. Oh man, bro, it was because it was unfair. So I didn't build wealth for my children. I didn't own a property. I didn't do that because it was them. Because it was them. Because it was my dad. Because it was my mom. Because it was the school system. Because it was white supremacy. Because it was, bro, the end result is you didn't get it done. Self-accountability. Yes. You got to get it done by any means.
Yes, sir.
So you got to be intentional about getting whatever it is your outcome you want to get done. Everyone told me I couldn't do real estate with felonies. Everyone said you can't do real estate with felonies. I've managed mortgage companies. I've been a celebrity realtor. I've been on the NBC as a real estate expert. I've been on Today Show as a real estate expert. I got a best-selling book on real estate. I managed the largest black-owned real estate crowdfunding in the history of the country. But they told me in 2005 you couldn't do real estate with felonies. No, that was your excuse, so you didn't go to work.
Yeah, come on, Jay.
You weren't that excuse. Lastly, with our P. What's my P now? It was purpose, thank you. See how God worked? Doing things that are bigger and greater than yourselves.
Right.
The most of my success came from when God called me in 2012 and said, take care of my people, I'll take care of you. Yes. I said, God, what do you mean? I was working a great job as a celebrity realtor with Sotheby's International Realty. I had a good thing going. I was the best white man in the organization. And God said, take care of my people and I'll take care of you. I said, you want me to bet on black people? So, I'm gonna give all this up for black people, okay. But I was obedient and I followed my purpose. I didn't even have an end goal in mind. I didn't know what the hell was gonna happen. But I followed my purpose. You gotta tap in, whether it's your family, your siblings, your mother, your community, whatever it is, you gotta find something larger than yourself to motivate you.
That's right.
It gotta get deeper than just cars, money, and jewelry or a girl.
Go ahead.
It gotta get deeper than that. When you get deeper into that, and then you're intentional, and then you have no excuse lifestyle, and you go out and get the information, you hold yourself accountable, and you self-reflect honesty, you can do anything.
That's right.
Because you're not allowing the excuses to be your bailout. Yeah. You just go get it done.
That's right.
Right? So that's part of that lesson. Now, as I close my last 2.5 minutes, I got to give you some real estate game. This is what I mean when I say that anybody can come up no matter where you're at. No matter where you're at. Poor as hell, no credit, no cash, no nothing. Now, part of that game, you must get informed at some point. We don't know enough about enough.
That's right.
See, I have this confidence because I know how to find an ROI, I know how to find a cap rate, an LTV, an ARV, a purchase ratio, I know how to evaluate real estate deals, commercial, residential, I know how to buy a single family home, condo, townhouse, subdivision, whatever it is. I understand how to repair credit, I know how to start an LLC, an S Corp, whatever. I got informed. Check out the game though. Most of us say we can't start building wealth or own real estate because of our credit or our cash, correct? Is that correct? All right, let me show you the game. Our credit strategy in the RBCs is this. It's real simple. One, everybody repeat after me. All credit can be rebuilt, restored, repaired, and recycled. Listen, credit is a paper game. There is $50 trillion of cash, coins, and currency in the world. $50 trillion of cash, coins, and currency. There's over $230 trillion of debt and credit in the world. There's triple, quadruple debt and credit than there is cash. Credit don't mean shit. We get all emotional about our credit. There's no credit hell, no credit purgatory. You can't bounce back. You can have bankruptcies, public records, medical bills, whatever. All credit, everybody say rebuild. Restore. Repair. And recycle. So check it out. I know the game for you to take a 680 credit score. I don't care if you're there today or not. Don't matter. You can take a 680 credit score, start a brand new LLC yesterday, and in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks get access to up to $50,000 with no bank statement, no W-2s, and no employment. No bank statements, no W-2s, and no employment with a new LLC and a 680 score, and get access to $50,000 of credit in real life. So check it out. You might say, well, Jay, I'm a 520. I'm a 500 credit score. I ain't got no credit. All credit can be rebuilt, restored, repaired, and recycled. So if you know all you got to do is get to a 680 no matter where you at and follow my blueprint, then I say, fuck the Valentine's Days and the birthdays and the Christmases. I start investing into my credit, rebuilding it, restoring, repairing it. I get the information on how to build secure credit cards, secure loans, authorize users, trade lines, delete inquiries, and understand how credit works so I can get in position for $50,000 cash my family never ever seen before. But I ain't done yet. Everybody say personal credit. Everybody say family credit. Everybody say business credit. Everybody say credit partners. So not only can your personal credit be rebuilt, restored, repaired, recycled, you got family credit. Your spouse, significant other, your brother, your mother, your sister. My daughter been building her credit since 15 years old. My daughter's 20 years old with a 780 score. So guess what? If daddy with all his big bodacious ideas and one of them shits go bankrupt and I fall flat broke, baby, you up next. I wasn't building this shit for nothing. But see, I ain't tripping about it. Because I know that if I leverage my credit and a business opportunity or real estate opportunity doesn't go well, that don't make me sad. I'm doing what the wealthy do. The wealthy try some shit don't work out. They file bankruptcy, clean it back up, and put it on somebody else's name. We get all emotional. Oh man, see, I knew that real estate shit. Oh, I knew. Oh, I should have kept renting. Oh. Over some credit, you all emotional. So then you can rebuild in real life. Then you got business credit. Then you got random credit partners. So I might meet Dre today. King Dre got a good credit score. I got the real estate information. I could be flat broke, y'all. Flat broke, no money, no assets, no nothing. But I got the knowledge though. Hey, King Dre, I caught a deal. We get a 40% ROI. All we gotta do is leverage your credit, get a bag from a lending institution. We go buy it, we bust it down. Put yourself on just by knowledge. I don't even need money or credit. I'm a value add because of what I know. So if King Dre and somebody else got credit, now some of y'all got an 805 credit score right now, but they got $805 in the bank. You're gonna die with a great credit score. with no assets. You ain't got an asset to pass down to your heirs. You ain't got a business, you ain't got a home, you ain't got an apartment complex and nothing to pass to your heirs. But you like, My credit's pristine. You just bragging about your score, but don't own shit. That's a poor person's mindset. You're not leveraging the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Go ahead, Roger.
So I can go on and on. We got to wrap. But I want to give us a game to let you know. This is just a credit piece. I can show you the cash piece, the real estate piece, the apartment complex piece. And there's so much information that I couldn't even give it off in a 3-hour lecture.
Go ahead.
Which is why I got a 36-hour course for $197 for the year.
Tell them how to get in touch.
I'm about to tell them.
Okay.
Shit. Don't give me the alley-oop. Not only do we offer that course, we also offer mentorship calls every single week. We also offer one-on-one coaching and mentorship. Whatever fits your budget or whatever. The point is, through your brother, you have access to the information. Somebody else, well, I could just maybe get it on YouTube. Well, you take your broke ass to YouTube and try to figure it out instead of investing your sneaker money into something that's proven. Because you operate from a mindset of scarcity. How can I get over? How can I get by? How can I get free?
Go ahead, man.
You're so busy chasing the free lunch as opposed to investing in yourself and getting something that's proven. So I'm going to give you how you guys get access to this information and something else that we're offering in a conference that we're doing in Vegas on November 8th. Yo, I'd be so excited, passionate, sweating, not caring, teaching on the corner because I watched this information transform my life.
Right.
I talk big cash shit talk because, yo, I know what I can do.
That's right.
I got a student made $100,000 last month on one deal with no cash, no credit. 25 years old. Like this happening every day. I just closed on a 98-unit apartment complex a couple weeks ago, 30,000 square foot building a couple months ago. Like we're doing this in real life. And everybody got access to the same information. It's not hard. There's so many ways to buy a home, buy an apartment complex, buy a building that you think, you told yourself in your uninformed head, I can't buy commercial real estate. My credit's not good enough. I don't make enough. Do you know you can buy a commercial building, no money down, with a 520 credit score? Matter of fact, you can buy a commercial building, no money down, with no credit score. It ain't credit and money is your problem. It's strategy is your problem. You're not informed. I do it all the time. I watch my wealthy friends do it all the time. Buy whole apartment complexes with no money out of their pocket and no credit. In real life. You think it's a scam. You think it's a gimmick because your dumbass don't know shit. So I want to give us the game on how to get information. Family, you guys can follow me personally on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Mr. J. Morrison, right? That's the easy route. For you to get my curriculum, tests, quizzes, certifications, mentorship calls, all of our lessons on real estate, business, and credit. Not the ABCs, the RBCs. Real estate, business, and credit. As simple as going to jmorrisonacademy.com. It's an online school, online course, 24-hour access. jmorrisonacademy.com. Top 10 educational company in the country according to Inc. 500. If you go here, you tap in. Don't say, oh, well, I learn better in person. I can't really learn online. But you're watching World Star Hip Hop and know every rap song. So you can't learn online, then how'd you learn all that music then? How you know all the gossip then? That's an excuse to give you a reason to bail out. If you sit your ass there for a 30-minute lesson with a notepad, keep hitting rewind, smoke your blunt while you do it, cool. Hit rewind, and go tap in. Stop making excuses to give yourself a reason to bail out. jmorrisonacademy.com. Next big play. This is our online school. You get access for 1 year to our school. The game is dope. I'll break this shit down like nobody can ever break it down to you. Secondly, on November 8th and 9th in Las Vegas, I want to tell you all this and we out. In Las Vegas, we're doing a conference. You can also watch this conference online. It's a 2-day conference. You can watch it online. So if you can't make it to Vegas, that's cool. Get the online live stream version. During this conference, anybody that registers, every person that registers is eligible, because we're picking one person from all our attendees, we're giving away $100,000 cash.
Wow.
In real life.
Real life.
Whether you online or in Vegas in person. One person that registers for a 100K Club conference will be eligible to win $100,000 cash just by attending. So I'm gonna give you that website as well. That website is 100K Club Conference.com. It's also on my Instagram, it's in my bio. 100kclubconference.com. Just for attending the conference, in person or live stream, you enter a chance for $100,000 cash. These are 2 easy plays for y'all. If you go to jmorrisonacademy.com, you'll also see credit services, so anybody need credit repair, we got you. If you need business funding, you'll see a business funding tab, we got you. You need personal mentorship, one-on-one coaching, you already got assets, already got a portfolio, already got a 401k, already got an IRA, already got equity, already got cash, but want to scale it, we got you. Here's your resource for your economic empowerment, jmorrisonacademy.com. We'll look forward to seeing you at our conference or registering online, and I hope that somebody here wins our $100 grand. But I wanted to give you guys this game on the SSI and the NIP to let you know that it's real and that we got to get out of our own way and stop making excuses, be intentional about getting new information that we know we don't know that can change our life. And so I thank you King Dre, and I thank you all for being a part of tonight. I look forward to breaking bread with you guys tonight. Thank you.